Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, welcome to our paper, The Impact of Code Switching in Starbucks Service Encounters. Okay, these papers are written by Noor Iylia binti Muhammad Norbi, Muhammad Nazakwan bin Sabri, Atif bin Cik Adnan, Noor Aisyah binti Ahmad from Language Center and General Study, College University Islam Perlis, Malaysia. For introduction, many service organizations arrange for their employees with screenplays, what we call as scripts, and expect the personnel as well as the customers to abide by those precise scripts as well. Those scripts can be weak, that is, without sequence information, or strong, which is with a format that aids in defining the appropriate orders of role behaviors. Okay, it is defined a script as a predetermined stereotype sequence of action that defines a well-known situation. And then this study examines the instances when those scripts are followed and the moments when they are not followed, in which it is known as the script subversion. In the scripted service interactions, the acts of code switching may then be contemplated as a form of ad-libs. For example, a consumer may inquire from an employee if the employees are able to make clear the ingredient in a beverage, prompting the employee to move from the strongly scripted encounter towards that ad-libs. This study examined the impact of this type of ad-libbing on the service performance as well as towards consumer satisfaction. Code switching may be the outcome from the shifting and the blending of wide-ranging language codes, for example, from English to Malay, or through microcultural or dialect codes, for example, in dialects, technological or industrial jargons. And then this research is guided by the following research question. Number one, does code switching occurs in scripted service encounter? Number two, is language and dialect code switching prevalent in economic setting? Literature review. This study focuses on the code switching. Thus, the literature review will be focused more on the code switching research, which is code switching is a term describe the process in which a communicatively competent multilingual speaker alternates or switch, usually between two languages or language varieties of codes during the same conversation as suggested by Mabule year 2015. As proposed by Wigdorowicz year 2022, code switching as described here is restricted to communicatively competent or skilled bilinguals or multilinguals only. Code switching is a social-linguistic communication strategy where a communicator toggles from one code to another, as mentioned by Eastman 1992 and again by Damrokrich 2022 during this course. Code switching is a commonly employed communication strategy that has been previously theorized to increase communication richness and efficacy. This one is mentioned by Checker et al. Year 2022. If there is a shared code, which is a language, dialect, or brand, that is highly salient to participant identity, the prior research, such as in Arnos 2022, strongly suggested that the accuracy of the communication should increase because there is a common frames of references between the communicators. 2.1 is a problem statement. The specific objective of the study to explore the occurrence of code switching in the scripted service encounters and to determine whether language and dialect code switching are found in commercial settings or not. We move on to the methods. The data is observation of walk-in service encounters, divided into two sessions. The first session is an 8-hour session during the day, and another session is a 2 hours recording conducted at night. The materials, the audio recording for this study is recorded by using smartphone with the default voice recorder provided in the main system. Samples, we use random sampling method to avoid any biasness in which it can alter the validity and reliability of the data, which the samples are the customers in that particular Starbucks branch in that particular frame of reference. Okay, and then the site is a branch of Starbucks located in the northern part of Malaysia. Okay, procedures. Okay, the observation of the counter interaction in detail from a nearby seating area. Okay, we need that the researcher will observe, okay, the interaction between the customer and the provider from a nearby seating area. The encounters and then were recorded via field notes and audio taping, in which, okay, in events that the audio taping receive a lot of disruption, then it is fully supported by the researchers' field notes. Okay, measurement we use simple frequency technique and frequency analysis method, okay, to identify the specific amount of code switching in each of the transactional interaction, okay, between the customer and the provider. Okay. For the data analysis, the use of languages, okay, other than English was indicated in italics, while the English translation for that language was provided in brackets. And then pauses were indicated with the epsilons, and the additional information were placed in square brackets. Okay, results and discussion. Okay, research question 1. Okay, we want to talk about the code switching in scripted service encounters. Okay, we have found out that based on our research that code switching does occurs in the scripted service encounters. And then these code switching events were almost always initiated by the customers. Okay, it is a tendency for customer to blend or shift from one shared code to another, leaving the script behind. Yeah, so we have the script provided by the provider, okay, by the business, and then it tends to follow that script for a while, and then, okay, the consumer themselves, okay, will deviate from the script. For example, this one is a research question number 2, language and dialect code switching in commercial setting. This is an example of one of the interaction that we found, okay, based on our observation. Okay, so we have employee, can I get your order? And then the consumer, yes, is this available? Points to menu boards. The employee will then seaside macadamia white chocolate latte, and the consumer, it has espresso, white chocolate milk, and whipped cream. And then the consumer will initiate the code switching by turning to Malay. Dia letak cookie crumble tak? In which, are there any cookie crumbles added in it? And then the employee, oh, tak ada. Oh, there are none. Consumer will say, oh, boleh add tak? Can you add them? And then, sure. Itu sahaja ke? Sure, is that all? Then, tambah Asian Dolce Latte satu. And then employee will, okay, nak whipped cream tak? Okay, do you want any whipped cream? Yes. Okay, this is a classic example of code switching within the transactional interaction between the employee and the consumers, in which, in the beginning, the employee will move, okay, and speak according to the script, but then the consumer themselves will drive, okay, the interaction to deviate from the scripts, okay, in order for them to increase their understanding of the menu. Okay, and then consumer initiate a broad language code switch, in which the employee guesses that the customer might speak Malay due to her lack of understanding of the long menu names. So when the customer started the code switch, the employee has a feeling, okay, this is perhaps due to the lack of understanding of the menu names. And then the employee started the code switch after the from the customer. And then the customer may have taken that as a cue to start switch the code to the customer, okay, in the mother tongue in order to assist the order process. Okay, for the conclusion, okay, the implementation of the ethnography technique to service interactions, okay, have been a practical approach in understanding the interaction between employee and customer. Okay, alongside the roles that are played and script that are followed. Okay, this research contribute to the code switching literature, okay, by confirming the positive effects of the language code, that is, by recognizing a context in which the dialect code switching may be unfitting, and also introducing a brand code switching. Okay, the concept of the corporate script as a legitimate code system, okay, where the consumers and the employees are able to toggle back and forth between codes because of the corporate scripts. And then the researcher firmly believe that these service codes are as valid as other vernacular, as they are more extensively used within that frame of reference, which is the global coffee cultures. Okay. Lastly, acknowledgement. The researcher would like to thank Starbucks for their generous sharing of data with us. We would like also to appreciate the enormous effort shown by the entire research team in completing this study. Lastly, we would like also to extend our gratitude to our organization, in which they have provided us with helpful insight and support in both financially and academically.